Hello, friends. Welcome back to Mindset HubTube, the place where great books meet powerful life lessons. If you're someone who's always striving to grow, improve, and take control of your life, then you're exactly where you need to be. Every week, we break down some of the most influential self-development books in the world, transforming big ideas into practical, easy-to-understand lessons you can use immediately. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell icon, and leave a comment below sharing what personal habit you're currently working on, because today's summary could change the way you think, work, and live forever. Let me ask you this. Why is it that two people can grow up in the same environment, face the same struggles, yet one becomes incredibly successful, calm, and confident, while the other stays stuck, frustrated, and reactive to everything around them? What makes the difference? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's habit, the invisible pattern that shapes our destiny. And that's exactly what Stephen R. Covey reveals in his timeless masterpiece, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So get ready to dive deep into the 7 principles that separate effective people from everyone else, and discover how you can start living by them today. Covey starts with a powerful truth. Between what happens to us and how we respond to it, there is a space. And in that space lies our freedom and our power to choose our response. That space is what defines truly effective people. Being proactive means you take responsibility for your life. You don't wait for conditions, people, or luck to decide your future. You take charge of your choices, your attitude, and your direction. Covey describes 2 types of people. 1. Reactive people. They blame circumstances. I can't do it because my boss doesn't support me. I'm not motivated because of the weather. It's just not fair. 2. Proactive people. They focus on what they can control. I'll find a way. I'll adapt. I'll improve myself first. The key difference is reactive people are controlled by their emotions. Proactive people are guided by their values. When something goes wrong, proactive people ask, what can I do right now that will make this better? They don't waste time on things outside their control. Instead, they focus on their circle of influence. Covey visualizes this using 2 circles. 1, the circle of concern, everything you care about, the economy, your boss, traffic, politics, the weather. 2, the circle of influence, the things you can actually do something about, your actions, your behavior, your skills, your attitude. When you focus your energy on your circle of concern, you become powerless, negative, and anxious. But when you focus on your circle of influence, something magical happens. It grows. You start improving yourself, and that creates more opportunities, confidence, and respect from others. Imagine you're in a job you don't enjoy. A reactive person says, my boss doesn't appreciate me, I can't do anything. A proactive person says, let me improve my skills, network better, or start planning for a better role. That small shift in mindset changes everything. Your words shape your mindset. Covey points out that reactive people's language sounds like, there's nothing I can do. That's just the way I am. They make me so mad. While proactive language sounds like, let's look at our options. I can choose how I respond. I'm responsible for my actions. Changing your words literally rewires your brain how it sees control and possibility. Covey emphasizes that we are not products of our past. We are products of our decisions. Between stimulus and response, humans have 4 unique endowments. 1, self-awareness, understanding yourself. 2, conscience, aligning with principles. 3, imagination, envisioning new possibilities. 4, independent will, the ability to act according to your values. These 4 powers give you ultimate human freedom, the power to choose your own path. To practice being proactive, start small. Identify one thing that's been frustrating you lately. Ask yourself, what can I actually control about this situation? Take one small step towards improvement, even if it's just changing your attitude. For example, if traffic makes you angry, you can't control traffic, but you can control what you listen to. Maybe turn that frustration into growth by listening to an audiobook or a podcast. Be proactive means taking full responsibility for your reactions, your emotions, and your life. Stop waiting for the world to change. Change your focus, and your world will follow. Now that you've learned to take charge of your life by being proactive, let's move to the second habit, one that helps you design the direction of your life with clarity and purpose. If habit 1 is about taking control of your life, then habit 2 is about deciding what direction you want that life to go in. It's not enough to be busy, even answer busy. The question is, busy doing what? Covey reminds us that effectiveness starts with vision. You have to know what you want before you start moving. Begin with the end in mind means imagining the outcome you truly want in every area of your life. It's about clarity, knowing your goals, your values, and the person you want to become. Covey suggests an incredibly powerful exercise. Imagine your own funeral. Strange? Maybe, but deeply revealing. He asks, what do you want people to say about you, your family, friends, coworkers, community? Do you want to be remembered as someone kind, as someone who made a difference, as a person of integrity? That vision, the way you want to be remembered, becomes your guiding compass for everything you do. Everything in life is created twice. First in your mind, mental creation, then in the real world, physical creation. Think about a house. Before construction begins, there's always a blueprint. If the blueprint is unclear or poorly drawn, the house will never come out right, no matter how hard you work on it. The same is true for your life. If you don't design your vision, you end up living someone else's. Imagine two people. One sets clear goals and visualizes the kind of person they want to become. The other simply reacts to life as it comes. 10 years later, the first person may have lived with intention, growing in alignment with their values. The second might still be wondering, how did I get here? Covey reminds us, if the ladder is not leaning against the right wall, every step we take just gets us to the wrong place faster. Covey encourages everyone to write a personal mission statement, a clear expression of your purpose and values. It acts like a constitution for your life. Ask yourself, what matters most to me? What do I stand for? What principles guide my decisions? Your mission statement becomes your filter for everything. When opportunities come, you can easily decide, does this align with my mission or does it distract me? Here's a simple example. To live with honesty, kindness, and courage. To continually grow and help others grow. To bring positivity and creativity into everything I do. It doesn't have to be long. It just needs to be true to you. Covey also says, don't just think about your goals in general terms. Think about them in the specific roles you play. For example, as a parent, what kind of influence do you want on your children? As a friend, what kind of support do you want to give? As a professional, what impact do you want to make? As an individual, what kind of person do you want to be mentally, physically, spiritually? When you define these roles, you start designing balance, not just success in one area at the expense of others. Think of a ship leaving a harbor. If the captain doesn't have a destination, every wind feels confusing. But if the course is set, no matter how the weather changes, the ship adjusts and keeps moving toward its goal. Your vision works the same way. When life throws distractions or setbacks, your end in mind keeps you aligned. Covey recommends a powerful morning habit. Before your day begins, take a moment to mentally visualize your most important outcomes for that day. Ask, what's the most meaningful thing I can do today? Or, if this day were well lived, what would it look like? This simple mental exercise aligns your focus with your purpose every single morning. Begin with the end in mind means to live life intentionally, not by default. Define your destination so your daily choices move you toward it. Once you know where you're headed, the next step is learning how to manage your time, priorities, and energy to get there. If habit 2 is about vision, habit 3 is about discipline, the ability to act on what matters most. Covey explains, habit 3 is where habits 1 and 2 come together. You've taken responsibility for your choices, habit 1. You've defined what truly matters, habit 2. Now it's time to live those priorities every day. Covey introduces a very powerful tool called the Time Management Matrix, which helps us understand how we spend our time and where our focus really goes. He explains that everything we do can be divided into 4 quadrants based on 2 things: whether it's urgent and whether it's important. Quadrant 1 is for things that are both urgent and important. These are the real emergencies and crises in life. Deadlines, last-minute problems, things that absolutely demand our attention. They can't be ignored, but if you live here all the time, you'll always feel stressed and reactive. Quadrant 2 is for things that are important but not urgent. This is where real growth happens. It includes planning, building relationships, exercising, learning, and personal development. These activities don't shout for your attention, but they silently shape your future success. Highly effective people focused most of their energy here. Quadrant 3 is urgent but not important. These are interruptions, unnecessary meetings, endless emails, phone calls, or messages that feel pressing but don't really move you closer to your goals. They create the illusion of progress while stealing your focus. Quadrant 4 is neither urgent nor important. This is pure time waste. Scrolling on social media for hours, watching random shows, gossiping, things that give temporary escape but no real value. Covey says most people spend their lives bouncing between Quadrant 1 and Quadrant 3, constantly reacting to problems and interruptions. But the secret of effectiveness is to live in Quadrant 2, the place of preparation, prevention, and purpose. That's where your energy multiplies, your stress decreases, and your life starts aligning with your goals. Covey uses a famous metaphor. Imagine you have a jar, and you need to fill it with rocks, pebbles, and sand. If you start with the sand, the jar fills quickly, and you won't have room for the rocks. But if you start with the big rocks, the things that truly matter, you'll always find space for the rest. Your life works the same way. If you focus on small distractions first, there's never time for what's important. But if you prioritize what matters most, your health, relationships, goals, everything else fits in naturally. Covey reminds us that saying yes to one thing means saying no to something else. Highly effective people have the courage to say no to the unimportant so they can say yes to the things that align with their purpose. As he puts it, you have to decide what your highest priorities are and have the courage, pleasantly, smilingly, non-apologetically, to say no to other things. Covey suggests weekly planning instead of just daily to ensure balance. Each week, review your key roles and goals from Habit 2. Then schedule the most important tasks that support them. This prevents your life from being hijacked by random urgencies. Let's say your mission statement includes being a caring parent, a healthy individual, and a continuous learner. Each week, you'd schedule family time, quality, not leftover time, exercise and meal prep, reading or skill learning sessions. This way, you live your values, not your email. Habit 3 isn't about managing time, it's about managing yourself. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. Covey explains, independent will, your ability to act, is the bridge between intention and results. When your daily schedule matches your deepest priorities, you experience true peace and focus. Put first things first means organizing your life around what truly matters and having the discipline to say no to distractions. The first three habits: be proactive, begin with the end in mind, and put first things first, build private victory, mastery over yourself. But life isn't lived alone. To be truly effective, you must also learn how to work interdependently, how to create powerful relationships built on trust and mutual success. Now that you've mastered the first three habits, which focus on self-mastery and independence, it's time to move toward interdependence, learning how to work effectively with others. Covey says that real success doesn't come from competition. It comes from cooperation. Habit 4, think win-win, is about creating agreements and relationships where everyone benefits, not just one side. It's about building trust, fairness, and long-term success, not short-term advantage. The foundation of win-win thinking is what Covey calls the abundance mentality. It's the belief that there's plenty of success to go around. People with an abundance mindset think, I can succeed, and so can you. They don't see life as a competition for limited rewards. They see it as a partnership where we can all grow. In contrast, people with a scarcity mindset believe there's only so much success, money, or love to go around, so if someone else wins, they must be losing. This thinking leads to jealousy, fear, and selfishness. Covey explains that abundance thinking is what makes cooperation and trust possible. It turns relationships from battles into opportunities for shared growth. Imagine two business partners discussing how to split profits. A scarcity thinker says, if you get more, I get less. An abundance thinker says, let's grow the pie so both of us can earn more. The difference? Scarcity limits, abundance expands. Covey describes 6 ways people approach relationships and conflict. Let's explore them one by one in simple conversational style. 1. Win-lose. If I win, you lose. This is the mindset of power and control. It works in the short term, but destroys trust. 2. Lose-win. I lose so you can win. This is the mindset of appeasement. You please everyone else but neglect your own needs and eventually feel resentment. 3. Lose-lose. If I can't have it, neither can you. This is pure negativity, the result of pride or revenge. 4. Win. I only care that I win. Doesn't matter what happens to others. This is independence without interdependence, focused on personal victory, not shared growth. 5. Win-win. This is cooperation, mutual respect, and shared success. It builds trust and lasting relationships. 6. Win-win or no deal. This approach removes pressure and manipulation. It allows both sides to walk away with integrity. Covey says win-win thinking grows from 3 key character traits: integrity, maturity, and abundance mentality. Let's break these down briefly. Integrity gives you the strength to stand by your principles even when it's hard. Maturity helps you express your feelings honestly while respecting others at the same time. And abundance mentality allows you to see possibilities where others see limits. These 3 create the emotional foundation for healthy win-win relationships. To truly live this habit, Covey recommends focusing on 2 things: trust account and win-win agreements. He uses a beautiful metaphor: the emotional bank account. Every relationship is like a bank account filled with trust. Each kind act, kept promise, or honest conversation is a deposit. Each broken promise, lie, or disrespectful act is a withdrawal. If your emotional bank account is full, your relationship can handle small mistakes or disagreements. If it's empty, even a small issue can cause big conflict. Think of a friend who's always there for you, listening, helping, keeping their word. You naturally trust them.
That's a full emotional bank account. Now think of someone who breaks promises or only calls when they need something. That's an empty account. No trust, no depth. Win-win thinking keeps the emotional bank account healthy through honesty, respect, and fairness. Covey suggests replacing control or rules with agreements that empower both sides. A good win-win agreement includes desired results, what outcome do we both want, guidelines, what are the ground rules or boundaries, resources, what support or tools are available, accountability, how will we track progress, consequences, what happens when we succeed or fail. When people create these agreements together, they feel ownership and motivation increases naturally. You can apply this habit everywhere. In relationships, instead of arguing to be right, look for solutions that make both feel respected. In business, negotiate for outcomes where both sides grow. In family, find schedules or rules that work for everyone, not just one person. The win-win mindset transforms your world from competition to collaboration. Quote, win-win is not a technique. It's a total philosophy of human interaction. It's about seeing life as cooperation, not competition, and believing that together we can all rise higher. Now that you know how to think win-win and build mutual success, the next step is learning how to communicate effectively. Because before we can influence others, we must first understand them. That's exactly what Habit 5 teaches us.
If Habit 4, think win-win, is about mutual success, then Habit 5 is about mutual understanding. Covey calls this the most powerful principle in human communication. Quote, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. End quote. Let that sink in. We often don't truly listen. We're just waiting for our turn to speak. Covey introduces a completely different level of communication called empathic listening. This means listening to understand, not to judge or fix. It's not about pretending to care, it's about feeling what the other person feels, seeing the world from their eyes. When you listen this way, people feel safe, respected, and heard, and that's when real influence begins. Covey says, when you listen with empathy, you give a person psychological air. Covey outlines 5 common levels of listening, and only one of them is truly effective. Let's go through them in a natural flow. 1. Ignoring, not listening at all. You're physically present but mentally elsewhere. 2. Pretending. You nod or say, uh-huh, but you're not engaged. 3. Selective listening. You only hear what interests you. 4. Attentive listening. You pay attention, but only with your mind, not your heart. And 5. Empathic listening. You listen with both your heart and mind to understand the other person's meaning and feelings. Empathic listening is rare, but it's transformational. Imagine your friend says, I'm really struggling at work. I feel like my boss doesn't appreciate me. A typical listener might respond, oh, I know how you feel. My boss is the same way. That's relating, not understanding. It shifts the focus back to you. An empathic listener, however, might say, it sounds like you feel unrecognized for all the effort you're putting in. That simple reflection shows understanding, not agreement, not advice, just empathy. When people feel heard, their defensiveness disappears and communication becomes genuine. Covey warns that most of us listen through our own life stories, what he calls autobiographical listening. We respond from our perspective, not theirs. We do things like evaluate, you're right or you're wrong. Probe, asking questions from our agenda. Advise, giving suggestions too early. Interpret, telling them what we think they mean. These reactions may seem helpful, but usually make the other person feel unheard. Empathic listening requires setting aside your story and entering theirs. A teenager says, "You never listen to me." A reactive parent replies, "Of course I do. I'm always telling you what to do."
That's not listening. That's controlling. But if the parent said, "You feel like your opinions don't matter to me, don't you?" That opens the door to connection. Covey explains that once the child feels understood, they naturally open up, and then the parent can share their perspective. The second half of this habit is equally powerful. Once you've listened empathically, you've earned the right to share your own ideas, and now people are ready to listen. Why? Because trust has been built. When you understand first, your influence grows naturally. No force, no manipulation. Covey says, you can't influence someone who doesn't feel understood. Imagine two coworkers disagreeing on a project. One insists on his approach, the other resists, and both leave frustrated. But if one of them takes a step back and says, "Help me understand what your main concern is," the energy shifts completely. Now, instead of fighting, they're collaborating. That's the power of Habit 5 in action. Try this simple exercise. In your next conversation, whether it's with a friend, partner, or colleague, listen without interrupting, and before replying, summarize what you think they feel and mean. You might say, "So you're saying you're frustrated because you feel left out of the decision." This small change builds emotional connection faster than any advice could. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Empathy first. Influence second. Once you've learned to truly understand others and communicate with empathy, you're ready for the next level of effectiveness: synergy. That's where individual strengths combine to create something even greater than the sum of their parts. Let's move into Habit 6, synergize. After mastering empathy in Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood, we naturally arrive at Habit 6, synergize. This is where true collaboration begins. Covey defines synergy as the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's about teamwork, open-mindedness, and the ability to find new solutions through differences, not despite them. Synergy is what happens when people work together, not to compete, but to create something better than any one person could do alone. It's more than cooperation. Cooperation is just working peacefully. Synergy is creating new value together. Covey says synergy is the essence of effective teamwork, family relationships, partnerships, and communities. It's about valuing differences instead of fearing them. Most people approach others with a defensive mindset. If you're right, then I must be wrong. But synergistic people think differently. Maybe both of us have parts of the answer, and together we can find something even better. This mindset turns conflict into creativity. Imagine two builders arguing about how to design a new house. One wants large windows for light, the other wants thick walls for insulation. If they compromise, they might both lose: smaller windows and mediocre walls. But if they synergize, they might discover double-paned insulated glass, a solution neither could have created alone. That's the magic of synergy. Covey emphasizes that differences are not obstacles, they are opportunities. When you truly appreciate someone's unique perspective, whether it's their personality, culture, or experience, you unlock new ways of thinking. He writes, "If two people have the same opinion, one of them is unnecessary." So instead of surrounding yourself with people who always agree, seek out those who challenge you respectfully. That's how growth happens. Think about a team at work. One person is analytical, another is creative, another is practical. Alone, each has limits. Together, they cover each other's blind spots. The creative person sees possibilities. The analytical person sees patterns. And the practical person sees steps. That's synergy, where diversity becomes strength. Covey identifies common barriers that destroy synergy. 1. Defensiveness, protecting your opinion instead of exploring others. 2. Ego, wanting to be right rather than effective. 3. Uniform thinking, expecting others to see the world the same way you do. And 4. Fear, being afraid to open up or trust others. To overcome these, you need to practice mutual respect, trust, and open communication, the foundations of Habit 6. In a family, synergy might look like this. Parents want discipline, kids want freedom. Instead of fighting, they discuss their real needs. Parents want responsibility, kids want trust. Together, they create a system of privileges earned by accountability. Both sides win, and a stronger bond forms. That's how synergy works in relationships, not by compromise, but by creative cooperation. Here's how you can build synergy in everyday life. 1. Listen deeply first. Habit 5. Understand the other perspective completely. 2. Be open to differences. Don't rush to defend your idea. 3. Look for the third alternative, not your way or their way, but a better way. And 4. Build trust, because synergy can't exist without psychological safety. Covey reminds us, synergy is celebrating differences, not tolerating them. In business, synergy creates innovation. In families, it builds love. In communities, it creates unity. And in personal growth, it expands your thinking beyond limits. When synergy becomes a habit, conflicts turn into conversations, and diversity becomes your greatest advantage. Synergy is not about sameness. It's about finding unity in diversity. When people truly work together, when hearts and minds align, possibilities multiply. Now that we've explored synergy, the habit of interdependence, we reach the final and most personal habit, self-renewal. It's the foundation that keeps all other habits strong and alive. Let's move into Habit 7. Sharpen the saw, the habit of renewal.
After learning the first 6 habits, from self-mastery to synergy, Covey ends the journey with something deeply personal and powerful. Habit 7. Sharpen the saw. This is the habit of self-renewal, the principle of maintaining balance in all areas of your life so you can keep growing, producing, and living effectively. Covey explains it beautifully. We must never become too busy sawing to take time to sharpen the saw. Imagine a woodcutter who's been sawing for hours. He's exhausted, but the saw is dull. Someone suggests, "Why not stop and sharpen it?" He replies, "I don't have time. I'm too busy sawing." That's how most of us live. We get so caught up in doing that we forget to renew. Sharpening the saw means taking time to renew yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, so you can work smarter, not just harder. Covey divides personal renewal into 4 key dimensions, each one essential for a balanced, effective life. Let's go through them one by one. Your body is your greatest tool. If you don't take care of it, everything else eventually collapses. Physical renewal includes regular exercise, healthy nutrition, adequate rest, and stress management. Covey isn't talking about bodybuilding. He's talking about energy. When your body feels good, your mind performs better, your emotions stabilize, and your motivation rises. Without good health, everything else becomes harder to achieve. So move your body, fuel it well, and rest without guilt, because that's sharpening your saw. Your mind grows through learning, reading, writing, and reflecting. Covey encourages constant growth,
Not just formal education, but lifelong learning. Feed your mind with ideas that challenge you. Avoid mindless junk food, endless scrolling, mindless gossip, or negativity. When you keep learning, you stay sharp and adaptable in a world that never stops changing. Covey says, to learn and not to do is really not to learn. To know and not to do is really not to know. So read, question, analyze, and most importantly, apply what you learn. This is about nurturing your heart and emotional intelligence. It's built on empathy, trust, and service, the habits you practiced earlier. Habit 4. Think win-win. Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. And habit 6. Synergize. Covey reminds us that meaningful relationships are emotional investments. You can't withdraw trust unless you've deposited it through kindness, honesty, and respect. Every small act of understanding strengthens your emotional balance. Spend time with loved ones, express gratitude, and give attention, not just time. That's how you renew your emotional energy. The spiritual dimension is the deepest. It's not about religion, it's about your inner sense of meaning. This is the source of your values, vision, and direction. It's what keeps you grounded when life gets chaotic. You renew your spirit through reflection, prayer, meditation, nature, journaling, or acts of service. Anything that helps you reconnect with your why. Covey says, the spiritual dimension is your center, your compass. When you stay true to that center, your actions naturally align with your purpose. Covey warns that if you neglect even one dimension, your life becomes unbalanced. For example, you might be intellectually sharp but physically drained, or emotionally connected but mentally stagnant. True renewal comes from harmony, when body, mind, heart, and spirit support one another. Think of your life as a car with 4 wheels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. If one tire goes flat, the whole car struggles. Sharpening the saw means keeping all 4 wheels inflated, so you can move forward smoothly and consistently. Covey ends the book with a profound image, the upward spiral. Every time you practice the 7 habits, you move upwards, growing in maturity, wisdom, and inner peace. You never arrive, you keep evolving. Renewal fuels growth. Growth fuels effectiveness. Effectiveness fuels fulfillment. That's the lifelong rhythm of personal mastery. Sharpen the saw means preserving and enhancing the greatest asset you have, yourself. When you renew yourself regularly, you don't burn out. You rise higher with clarity, strength, and balance. Let's pause for a moment and look back at everything you've learned. 1. Be proactive. You are the creator of your life. 2. Begin with the end in mind. Define your vision and purpose. 3. Put first things first. Focus on what truly matters. 4. Think win-win. Seek mutual benefit in every relationship. 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Listen to connect. 6. Synergize. Celebrate differences to create better solutions. 7. Sharpen the saw. Keep renewing your body, mind, heart, and soul. Covey calls these habits the internal compass for effectiveness. They're not quick fixes, they're principles for a lifetime. If this summary inspired you, don't just listen, live it. Start by choosing one habit today, even a small one, and practice it until it becomes natural. Because success isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. And remember this, those who take time to sharpen their saw never fall behind. If you found value in this video, subscribe to Mindset HubTube. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Share this with someone who's ready to grow, and hit the bell icon because we have more life-changing book summaries coming your way. Let's keep building stronger minds one habit at a time. This is Mindset HubTube, and I'll see you in the next video.